Hey guys, so it's time for another reading related video. This one is actually going to be the book Sacrifice tag, and I have my phone in my hand because the questions are on here. This was created by Ebates, and it is kind of an old tag, but I watched so many of these videos and laughed so hard because the premise of the tag is basically, these crazy scenarios happen and you are picking your least favorite books essentially to sacrifice. So it's fun to see sort of what books other people don't like, and sometimes they're books you really like and sometimes you're like, yeah, I hate that book. So yeah, let's get started and let's see what books I would sacrifice. So the first scenario is an overhyped book. So let's say you're in a bookstore, you're just browsing, when bam, zombie apocalypse. The announcement comes over the PA system saying that the military has discovered the zombies' only weakness is overhyped books. What book that everyone else says is amazing, but you really hated, do you start chucking at zombies knowing it will count as an overhyped book and successfully defeat them? This is easy. And I will say that there are 4 questions and 4 books. I only own one of the books that I would sacrifice because if I don't like a book, I don't keep it around. I don't waste shelf space on it. So the book that I would sacrifice that is an overhyped book to me is The Time Traveler's Wife. So everyone was like, oh, you have to read it. It's so amazing. What a beautiful story. It took me a long time to actually finish the book because I didn't like the writing. I really didn't feel like the characters were relatable or were even characters that I liked or cared what happened to them. And the ending sucked. Like, it was awful. And I know a lot of people love it. A lot of people think the movie's great. I didn't even see the movie because I was like, the book was so bad that I have no desire to waste 2 hours of my life on that movie. So I would definitely sacrifice The Time Traveler's Wife. So the second question is a sequel. So you just left the salon with a smashing new hairdo and boom, torrential downpour. What sequel are you willing to use as an umbrella to protect your new hairdo? That's the only book that I actually have because I like the series and I don't hate this book, but I just thought it was the weakest one of all of them. And this has been what a lot of people have said for this one. It's Mockingjay by Suzanne Collins. I really loved the Hunger Games series and I thought that this book was just a weak ending. Like, things happened to characters that I thought was completely irrelevant, that it didn't need to happen, and I felt like Katniss was such a baby in this one, and she had been built up to this, like, strong character, and then all of a sudden it was just like, pfft. And I just felt like Suzanne Collins gave up. Like, she wasn't really sure what to do with them when they weren't fighting in the arena anymore. And this is what she came up with, and I really didn't like it. So, okay, the third question is a classic. Let's say you're in a lecture, your English teacher is going on and on about how this classic changed the world, how it revolutionized literature, and you get so sick of hearing it that you chuck it right at their face. This classic is stupid, it's worth the tension just to show everyone how you feel. What classic is it? That's The Catcher in the Rye. I read The Catcher in the Rye for my senior English class. I think I did like a thesis report paper or whatever you called them. It was like a big book report we had to do on our chosen book senior year of high school. And I was like, oh, I'll totally read The Catcher in the Rye. Everyone says it's great. That was quite possibly the most despicable main character ever. He was so pretentious and so whiny, and if I had to read the word phony one more time, like, I think I have a phobia to the word phony now because of that book. It's a short, tiny book, but it was awful, and it was a waste of time, and I I would never reread it, even to see if maybe it was just my high school self being like, oh, this guy's pretentious and I don't like him. But I really just hated that book, and I did not think that it was worth the accolades everybody gives it for being such a fantastic classic and everybody needs to read it. No. You could totally go your whole life without reading it and not be missing anything except an overuse of the word phony. Alright, so this one's the least favorite book of your life. Let's say that you're hanging out in a library and then bam, global warming explodes and the world becomes a frozen wasteland. You're trapped and your only chance for survival is to burn a book. What is the book you first run to, your least favorite book of all life? What book do you not feel guilty lighting on fire? So at first I was like, I don't have any idea. Like, I don't feel like I hate any book so much that I would call it my least favorite book of life. And then I remembered. This book took me 3 years to finish. And I know a lot of people would say, just give up on it. It's not worth it. Like, if it takes you that long to finish a book, just throw it out. It's not worth your time. Don't read books that you aren't into. I read it for 2 reasons. 1, I'd heard great things about it. And 2, the author actually is an alumna of my university. And I've heard the story that is the real life story of the fictional book. And the book is The Last Girls by Lee Smith. So the actual story of Lee Smith and her friends going down the Mississippi on a raft is far more interesting and riveting than the fictional version that she wrote. So I don't know what happened in translation, but it was boring. It was slow to read. It just felt like it was really clunky in its writing. And I kept wanting it to grab me like Lee Smith's real life story grabs me, but it never quite got there. And when the book was over, it was like a sigh of relief that I was done with this book and I never had to pick it up again. And I am genuine when I say it took me 3 years. Like, I would read some every once in a while and then put it down for months at a time because I was like, this is awful, it's dry, I don't understand why everyone talks about this book as one of the best books written by, Holland's authors, and it's definitely not. I haven't read anything else by her, so I don't know if it's maybe just her writing style that I don't like, but I found the characters to be not likable. And it just, like I said, the real life story of what she and her friends did was so cool that this was just pale in comparison. So yeah, that is it. That is my book sacrifice tag. I hope that I wasn't too mean to the books that I don't like, and I would love to hear what you think of some of these books or what books you would sacrifice. Definitely don't take offense if I just trashed on a book you love. Everybody's entitled to your opinion, and I know at least one person that loves every single one of the books that I just trashed. So, yep, that's about it, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!